This is the second part of my kayaking trip up to Ningaloo Reef, the first part being Yardie Creek. It was the first time using my underwater camera, so the pictures need a lot of polish, and the reef had and continues to have bleaching. But I wanted to show this amazing thing that the park offers, and that is kayak mooring buoys. At different sites, a few kilometres offshore, you can kayak up to a buoy, tie your kayak up, hop off, snorkel around, hop back in, and paddle back to shore. Now, I didn't have a sea kayak at the time, but the sit-on that I had was a little higher than usual, and it had a rudder which helps win the minimal waves. And as with every time you kayak, you have to be aware of the rules. Heading offshore requires different equipment. I have a different PFD. You need to be aware of whether you're required to take an EPIRB, flares, pump, etc. So I took an educated risk doing this one solo, and it was actually my first ocean trip. If I had been out going into the ocean without the protection of the reef, I probably wouldn't have done it. Nevertheless, it was some of the most amazing snorkeling. Now, there are incredible snorkeling sites right offshore. That's the undeniable beauty of Ningaloo. But the ability to paddle out and have a few different reefs to myself, wow. So I did the Osprey Sanctuary Zone, which offers two sites that you can head out to, and both sites offer different experiences. The first buoy is about 1.1 kilometres offshore, and it has the most amazing clams, a plethora of reef fish species, and there is a huge range of different corals. The second buoy is about 500 metres away and weirdly called the Bungle Bungles. It's a lot shallower, and you have to be careful not to damage the reef. And coral cuts are some of the most painful that can be experienced. Now, the tide came in pretty quickly, which allowed a few reef sharks to glide over the top of the coral plates. And it's weird. You know that they're just reef sharks, but your brain does that shape recognition thing and instigates a fight or flight mode. To be honest, they couldn't have cared less about me. But they were definitely doing that prowling, hunting behaviour for food. Now, I said at the beginning of setting up this account that I would share the negative things as well. I had been out for hours, and I'd kept extending my swim there. I felt that I could have even stayed longer, and I didn't realise how exhausted I was until I tried to re-enter the kayak, and that was a process which only exhausted me even further. I really struggled to get back into my kayak, and I was starting to go through that panicking sort of thing of what am I going to do now? I'm a bit offshore. I'm pretty tired. If I swim, I'm going to have to come and collect my kayak. And it was only by using the buoy rope and sort of standing on the tension that I could lift myself up. As it was, I later was tipped over by a wave. It was closer to shore, and I ditched the kayak. I was just that exhausted. So I swam in, and the tide brought my kayak in shortly after. Luckily, it was within the reef, so I didn't break any coral. Now, I had the personal locator beacon on my person, but stupidly, my car key was on my kayak, and that could have been interesting. So many lessons learned. And look, as a solo traveler, you really have to be your own voice of reason. Now, would I do this again? By myself? Absolutely. So, most people, when they think of Ningaloo Reef, think of snorkeling from shore, swimming with the whale sharks, but I'd add to that kayaking adventures too. This place has so much. Snorkeling, swimming, camping, kayaking. This place is my heaven.